Welcome back to Jackie's Movies, where we're talking about the 95th Academy Award nominations for Best Picture. Cheers, y'all. Episode 5, we're halfway there, and we're kicking it off with The Fabelmans. All right. I had to get on my grandfather's old sweater, bring out my own 8mm camera. Shout out to my awesome brother-in-law, Stockton, for getting me this gift years ago. I love it. I don't know if it actually works. I just discovered literally just now that the film goes right here. So yeah, and I learned that from The Fabelmans when he does this. So maybe I'll put some film in here and we'll get recording. Anyways, The Fabelmans. Directed by Steven Spielberg, the amazing Steven Spielberg. We love him. However, I did not love this film. I don't know why it's nominated for Best Picture. I don't know why it's nominated for 7 different Oscars this year. I just thought it was a little boring. Like, I loved that it was a coming-of-age film, and no disrespect to Steven Spielberg. I absolutely love him. And I know that he's never done a really coming-of-age story before. I mean, I guess you could argue that E.T. is a coming-of-age story, but it's not really. And anyways, I do love that he always has a childlike sense in his films, like whether it be E.T. or whether it be Schindler's List, he does have a childlike element that always comes in. And with this film, yes, that was there, but I don't think it was delivered well at all. The acting to me, especially from the teenagers that pick on our teenage Steven Spielberg, they are so painful to watch. I literally got secondhand embarrassment while watching it. I'm sure that's how a ton of people feel while watching this podcast, but it's just like the worst feeling. I'm just sitting there like, ooh, like this could have been so much better. Like this just it could have been so right, and it just wasn't achieved. And I mean, I don't get why Michelle Williams is nominated for Best Actress. She's a beautiful and wonderful actress. But she just is off kilter in this, and obviously that's the way that Steven Spielberg wanted her to be. That's how he describes his mom. His mother, in his words, was like Peter Pan. And I kind of loved that just because that really explained her character to me, because while watching the film, knowing nothing about Steven Spielberg's life, I was like, all right, this girl is insane. She's all over the map. She's selfish. Like, it's just her mind is in a different place. But apparently Michelle Williams portrayed Steven Spielberg's mother beautifully. And that was the way that she actually was. Anyways, I couldn't help but think like, all right, obviously this is a therapeutic art for Steven Spielberg. Like this actual project was therapeutic. And he jokes about this in one of his interviews where he was like, yeah, like while filming this, I would cry a lot, and even Seth Rogen says that as well, that during filming he was just a wreck because it was to a T exactly his life and what he went through when he was 7 to 18 and watching his parents and really discovering his love for directing. But he says that, oh my God, did I just pay like $4 million worth of therapy? Because that's how much this movie cost to make. And who pays $4 million for therapy? But I guess it worked for him. Anyways, I think he's super kind and such a great, great director. But again, this film just was not on the nose. Paul Dano, personally, is the best part. He plays Steven Spielberg's dad. I mean, talk about an actor that just has range. You're the Riddler. You're the gothic kid in Little Miss Sunshine. You are now Steven Spielberg's father, and he's just such a great actor. I need to watch more of his films because, truth be told, those are the only ones that I've seen of him. And Prisoners. Oh, my God. And he's so good in Prisoners. He's so creepy, and you feel horrible for him. Anyways, I thought he was wonderful playing Steven Spielberg's dad, where he is just this practical man, this engineer. And again, Michelle Williams is this artist of a mother, and she's always wanting more, and it's kind of like everything's about me sort of situation. And then Steven is obviously the oldest of the family, and he has 2 younger sisters. And so it's all this coming of age story of really watching your parents not just be mom and dad, but be real people. And that is the like golden egg of the film that I really enjoyed, because everyone can relate to that, especially when you're, 18, just really discovering, all right, like my parents aren't just these perfect visions of mom and dad. They are real people, and they are humans that make mistakes and that are super imperfect. Mom and dad, I love you. Y'all are perfect. Never change. But anyways, yeah, that was the one part that I really did like. The rest of it, I think, like I said already, it's a sweet film. Like, watch it with your grandparents. I don't know why it's nominated for Best Picture whatsoever. It was cool to hear that Steven Spielberg said that when he walked out on set, it was exactly his house from childhood, and exactly the menorah in the right spot, and the books and in the shelves and everything. And he said that the whatever it's called, production designer, good grief, the production designer was just so wonderful and really making it authentic and honest. I think because Steven filmed so much when he was 8 years old with an 8mm camera, and all these other old photos, obviously you could just really copy and paste everything. So yeah, that was cool. And also, Gabriel LaBelle, he plays the teenage Steven Spielberg. I thought he did a great job. The other teenagers, like I said earlier, not so hot, not so great. But Gabriel, really, I'm excited to see what his next steps in his career are. I also loved that he had to learn how to use an 8mm and a 13mm and a 16mm camera, and actually learn how to splice and glue all of the clips. That's just such a fun thing. And, in RTF class back in college, like, I took like one class where we had to do that, and then I was like, I'm out. This is so hard. So a lot of respect for that. And that they actually filmed every single one of Steven's old childhood films to a T. So everything you see in the movie of when he's, making a war film with his Boy Scout troop friends, and making other films with his sisters, those are exact films that he really did make. And he taught Gabriel how to do that. But I love this, though. I read this, that he was like, I want to make the exact films, yet my camera angles as a child are so cringeworthy. So, like, that's the one thing we're going to change, or the camera angles, because he just, like, couldn't handle, like, the mediocrity of it. Anyways, watch this film when you are with your grandparents or your parents. Maybe, like, it's like a Christmas Eve type of movie where it's sweet and wholesome and whatever, but it does not deserve Best Picture. I love you, Steven Spielberg, but this is not it.